This is Local 15 Today.
I wouldn't wish this upon anyone. I hope God heals them in every way as possible.
A community devastated after finding the body of 12-year-old Naomi Jones, but through that devastation, hope.
You could just see him staring. He was just looking around like, oh crap, I ain't got no getaway car now.
He got away, but he's behind bars now. A man accused of at least 5 armed robberies throughout Mobile County in just 2 days has been caught and arrested.
They found 26 shells in this yard alone.
Also caught in gunfire this morning, Mobile police searching for suspects as they investigate a city shootout. Good morning, everyone. I'm Darwin Singleton. My co-anchor Kelly Foster has this morning off. Thank you for joining us for Local 15 Today.
I want to emphasize that the investigation now enters another phase, and that's the phase of a homicide investigation.
A missing child case has now evolved into a murder investigation. This morning, the Pensacola community is mourning the death of 12-year-old Naomi Jones, whose body was discovered Monday afternoon in 8 Mile Creek in Escambia County, Florida. Her body was pulled from that stream just before 6 o'clock Monday evening. The community joined law enforcement and search and rescue crews during a 5-day search, which began Wednesday, the day the little girl was last seen. Monday evening, a prayer vigil was held for Naomi and her family. The ultimate message at that vigil was hope. Joined together at the altar, many sang songs of prayer and love for the little girl.
She just turned 12 years old, a tragedy. But even though, with the power of God, this is what's going to get the family through it, with the community, the church as a whole.
It's saddened, but it's a blessing that she knew God, and we believe that she's with God.
And now a very important point in this investigation. Investigators say they do have persons of interest in this case. Naomi's disappearance and even the way she was found may remind some of you of another case, the case of Hawaii Robinson in Pritchard. 8-year-old Hawaii was reported missing on September 16, 2014. Days later, she was found dead in an illegal dump site in Pritchard. Her father, Hawatha Robinson, was arrested, charged with sodomizing and murdering his daughter. He's currently in the Mobile County Jail serving a 100-year sentence. Local 15 has been covering the case of Naomi Jones since it broke last week, and will continue to bring you new developments as the search turns into a murder investigation. Well, in weather, it is soggy, Jake.
Yeah, absolutely. We have another day of rain coming our way. In fact, now at 9 days in a row with rainfall across the region. Now storms have already started, and up next, heavy rain is in the forecast as we head through the day. You can see the showers really hitting Baldwin County earlier this morning, or I guess I should say late last night. Some torrential rainfall. This is just batch 1. It will be moving out during the morning commute, but then we're going to see additional showers and storms start to flare up by the middle of the day, and of course last into the afternoon and evening. Out the door numbers include 74 in Mobile, 72 in Gulf Shores, and your hour-by-hour forecast, again, more of the same. Highs in the low to mid-80s. Good chance of storms this morning. We'll get a break midday, and then the storms will really ramp up later on this afternoon and into this evening. But the end is near. I'll let you know when the rain stops in a few minutes. Outside right now on the roads at 5:03, we're looking good on the Bayway Causeway intersection. Of course, roads are wet, but traffic is light.
We continue with breaking news this morning. The U.S. Coast Guard continues their search for a missing kayaker in the water on Dauphin Island. Now, we just spoke with the Heartland Coast Guard moments ago, and they say the first light search will be conducted this morning using an MH-65 air crew. Officials say a green kayak was found around 10 Sunday morning near Dauphin Island Parkway. Now, the boat and helicopter crews were dispatched to search for the kayaker. A Coast Guard helicopter crew from New Orleans was dispatched to help search for that missing person. Now, the newspaper is saying, and also other outlets are saying, that the Coast Guard has not found the owner of the kayak as of 7:45 Monday night. And we also did make that call into the Coast Guard, and they also gave us the same information. So anyone with information about this incident is urged to call the Coast Guard sector in Mobile here, and we'll have that number on our website as well.
And the big thing here, Zora, is they found a kayak floating, but they didn't find the owner. Now, that could either mean the owner went overboard, or the owner could have just left and abandoned the kayak, or maybe the kayak was stolen. They really don't have they have not identified a person yet. They just have a missing. Well, they don't have an owner for the boat.
They don't have an owner for the boat, and they haven't identified a person or named anyone, so we're still waiting to find out that information. So we have been calling the Coast Guard, and we're talking with them constantly to see whatever information they have.
All right, well, let's hope this ends with somebody saying, hey, that's my boat. That's what we hope for. All right, thank you, Zora. A robber deemed armed and dangerous by police has been caught and arrested. According to the Chickasaw Police Department, 33-year-old Lionel Dion Gray was arrested in Atlanta, Georgia last evening. Now, police say Gray was on the run after committing a string of armed robberies in Mobile County. And one of those robberies, we told you about this, you see here, was at the Super Express on Lee Street in Chickasaw. A store clerk says during the robbery at Super Express, the man identified as Gray accidentally left his keys on the store counter.
He was sitting in his car when he didn't have his keys. He was just looking like, oh crap, what do I do?
Gray began to leave the store, at least the man identified as Gray began to leave the store on foot, but that is when the robber saw his opportunity to strike again. And according to Chickasaw Police, the man identified as Gray approached a family who was standing nearby, robbed them at gunpoint, and then stole their car. Police say Gray's crime spree began on Saturday when they say Gray robbed a Shell gas station, then on Sunday robbed a Rite Aid store, and later shot a woman in the arm on Selma Street before stealing her car. This morning, Gray is being held in Fulton County Jail pending extradition back to Mobile. Police continue to search for the suspect who stabbed a man at a local bar. Police say the victim was stabbed twice while at the Old Mill Bar on Highway 90. That incident happened Sunday night. Police continue to investigate that. 3 arrested after a gun battle rang out near the corner of Bruton Avenue and Stanton Road in Mobile. And this morning, at least one person is recovering from a gunshot wound, and police are working to make even more arrests. Police say that shootout happened in the Crichton community, and it took place in broad daylight and with innocent lives nearby. One person was shot in the hand. Now, so far, 20-year-old Antonio Brown, 19-year-old Antoine Brown, and 19-year-old Donazan Floyd have all been taken into custody, but authorities still have several suspects remain on the loose this morning. And in fact, we've heard that 2 of those people have bonded out this morning. Now, in the midst of the gunfire, several residents say they had to duck for cover, some describing the scene as something out of a Western movie.
Well, I was coming out of my house, and I heard some shooting behind me. And by the time I got to my car and opened my car door, a truck stopped in front of my house, and the boys started opening the doors, and they started shooting back toward Bruton Avenue.
This is how many shots were fired. The shooting was so severe, one man says he counted 26 shell casings in his driveway. A crackdown on drunk and reckless driving, where you could expect to see increased patrols and safety checkpoints. And criminal charges have been announced stemming from the deadly warehouse fire that killed 36 people. The men arrested were once victims, but now they're being held accountable. Also, trapped inside your own apartment? Well, a few residents in Georgia were after the staff at their apartment complex removed the stairs. You have to see this one. That story coming up in our 6 a.m. hour.
And then there was one day left of showers and storms. That's today. They're not expected to be severe, but heavy rain may slow you down. I've got your full forecast when we get back.
Named Best Newscast in the State by the Alabama Broadcasters Association. Local 15 weather with meteorologist Jake Dunn.
Good Tuesday morning. It's 5:11 and we're doing what we call a reverse storm track, is because we've had heavy rainfall moving through Baldwin County, but the back edge is now getting ready to move through Loxley within 3 minutes, Summerdale just after that, and then it will be moving out of Robertsdale within 7 minutes. We're not finished. In fact, more rain is on the way later on today. And take a look at additional rainfall amounts through 5 o'clock. We could be getting inundated as some of this deep tropical moisture comes in off the Gulf of Mexico. We'll get some more rainfall tonight into tomorrow morning. We're probably talking 2 and in some spots 3 inches of rain, and then we're finished because the end is near. In fact, this time tomorrow, we'll be saying goodbye to the showers as we see a shift in our weather pattern, which will bring an end to the storms. And beyond that, we've got some delightful June days coming your way with sunshine, lower humidity. It's going to be warm, of course, but we're going to lose the humidity for at least a few days. So again, we'll see a trend towards some quiet weather through midday, some spotty showers and storms, and then everything will get active once again during the afternoon. We'll have some slow spots on the roads for the drive home from work, and then showers and storms are actually going to keep going overnight tonight, and that may not be the best news for the Bay Bears. They've got a game plan for 6:35. Storms will be in the area. Temperatures will be in the upper 70s. So the rest of tonight into Wednesday morning, notice that we're losing the green. And then how about this tomorrow? A sun and cloud mix, maybe some coastal showers during the afternoon, but most of us will dry out tomorrow, and we will stay that way for several days. Hour by hour forecast out the door right now, 74, staying in the 70s most of the morning, a quick spike into the mid 80s midday, and then as those storms become more numerous, we're back into the 70s by the evening hours. 7-day forecast, we're keeping that spotty shower chance in tomorrow, but Thursday, Friday, and Saturday all look dry, yes, warm, but not that muggy. And then as the humidity returns Sunday, so does the chance of storms.
All right, Jake, looking at those sunshine little icons there, it reminds us of this. If you plan to spend time outside this summer, it's important to protect your skin from the sun and those insects. But new this morning, there's a certain way experts say you need to go about it. And an update on the investigation into that deadly terror attack on and around the London Bridge. 2 of the 3 attackers have now been identified, but there are new questions about whether British authorities did enough to stop them. Controversy over the lethal injection drug Midazolam continues. Despite doubts that the drug doesn't make inmates unconscious, Alabama is proceeding with yet another execution. Local 15's Zora Asbury joins us live to explain. Good morning again, Zora.
Good morning, Jarwin. It's new this morning. Alabama's Attorney General says questions about the lethal injection drug Midazolam are no longer an issue. He's asking the U.S. Supreme Court to let an execution proceed this week. Attorney General Steve Marshall's office said in court Monday that there's no reason to block Thursday's execution of Robert Melson. Now, Melson was scheduled to be executed Thursday for killing 3 restaurant employees during a 1994 robbery. Now, the 11th U.S. Circuit Court of Appeals last week granted a stay as it considers appeals from Melson and other inmates, and they claim that Alabama plans to use the ineffective sedative that will not render them unconscious, which is the drug that we just named, but they did say that now that drug does work. In the Breaking News Center, Zora Asbury, Local 15 News.
Thank you, Zora. A man walks into his former place of employment, pulls out a gun, then kills 5 of his former co-workers. Police say 45-year-old John Robert Newman was a former employee of the Florida awning manufacturer in Orlando, Florida, and that he had recently been fired. Well, according to reports, Newman walked into that building with a gun and a knife, and he used the gun to open fire. Witnesses say Newman was aiming at his victim's head. Several employees were able to escape, but Newman eventually turned that gun on himself. A massive warehouse fire claims the lives of dozens of people. This morning, 2 men are facing charges. You may remember we brought you this story as breaking news in December 2016. A massive fire broke out at this warehouse in Oakland, California. It killed 36 people. Well, almost a year later, 1 person is still in the hospital recovering. This morning, Derek Amina, the man who was responsible with operating that warehouse, is being charged with 36 counts of involuntary manslaughter. Now, one of his tenants, Max Harris, is also being charged with those same counts. Police say the warehouse was known as the Go Ship and that it was illegally converted into a living space. The cause of the fire cannot be determined because of the extent of the damage the fire left behind. The recent attack in London could have been prevented, but new this morning, and according to U.S. intelligence officials, British authorities missed the warning signs. That's the claim. On Monday, authorities identified 2 of the London attackers as Rashid Redouane and Kurman Boot. According to U.S. intelligence, Boot was already well known to British authorities. He had even been featured in a documentary about Islamic extremists, and he was part of a group of ISIS supporters closely monitored by police. British police are saying that although Boot was well known to them, there was no indication he was planning any violence. Meanwhile, the 3rd suspect in the deadly London rampage has still not been named. Today, veterans will commemorate the 73rd anniversary of D-Day at the World War II Memorial. It has been 73 years since the 1944 invasion of Normandy, France. Today, veterans will honor the more than 9,000 Allied soldiers killed or wounded on that day. They'll do it by placing wreaths at the Atlantic Arch of the World War II Memorial.
Well, we had a beautiful sunset in Summerdale yesterday. Here's the scene from Tim Ard. But my question is, what is this sun that Tim is speaking of? Because we just haven't seen the sun in quite some time, but it's almost time to get rid of the rain and add the sun back into the forecast. Not today. We have to get through today, and it's a warm one out there. Already in the 70s. Humidity, as you probably know, is sky high. We're not going to move much today. Clouds, showers, and storms are in the forecast, so we're talking about low 80s in Dauphin Island and Gulf Shores, 84 in Daphne and Pritchard, and 85 today in Robertsdale. Also low to mid 80s or below normal numbers in Northwest Florida. Walnut Hill 86, Pensacola 84, and 83 in Fort Walton. But the next 3 days shows that we have changes, and for the better, coming our way. Showers, storms, heavy rain today, spotty showers tomorrow, and then how about that golden sunshine and 86 on your Thursday. Gets even better as we go beyond that. I've got that 7-day forecast coming up in just a bit. Time for traffic this morning, and we are looking live at the Wallace Tunnel into and out of on the Austell side. Roads are wet, but travel is good.
All right, thank you, Jake. Power is the key, especially when we rely on those charges to charge our phones, our laptops, and our other electronics. But with all the chargers, well, keeping up with them is becoming difficult. We have an easier way for you to stay charged up. We'll tell you about it in a moment.